What will be Ukraine's next move? I ask this question because of certain unusual developments that we have noticed in the last 24 hours.
Today I can confirm that the UK is donating Storm Shadow missiles to Ukraine. Storm Shadow is a long-range, conventional-only precision strike capability. It complements the long-range systems already gifted, including HIMARS and Harpoon missiles, as well as Ukraine's own Neptune cruise missile and longer-range missions elsewhere gifted.
This was the British Defence Minister, Ben Wallace. He says that the UK has sent Storm Shadow missiles to Ukraine. They are like HIMARS and Harpoon missiles. And Wallace says what he is not saying is that HIMARS that the Americans have given Ukraine only have a range of around 50 miles, which is 80 kilometers. But the missile that the UK has sent Ukraine has a range of over 155 miles. I'm talking 250 kilometers. Back to my question, what is Ukraine? Or if I were to rephrase, what is the West's plan here exactly?
Ukraine has a right to be able to defend itself against this. The use of Storm Shadow will allow Ukraine to push back Russian forces based within Ukrainian sovereign territory.
Does Ukraine need a long-range missile for that? Is the Storm Shadow the best weapon of choice? Let me just tell you a little bit about this missile system. Storm Shadows are fired from aircraft, and once launched, the missile drops to low altitude. Why does that happen, you ask? Well, to avoid detection. The missile then latches onto its target with an infrared seeker. This missile has been manufactured by the European missile maker, MBDA, and it has been designed to attack high-value targets. Hardened bunkers, for example. Just a quick reminder, this weapon has a range of 250 kilometers, which means it can hit well within Russia. Which also means this weapon puts into question what Kyiv has been saying all along. Let me just give you a recent example. When the Kremlin accused Ukraine of trying to assassinate the Russian President Vladimir Putin, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said, "We don't attack Putin or Moscow. We fight on our territory. We are defending our villages and cities." Well, then what explains these long-range missiles? The UK has not voluntarily armed Ukraine. Kyiv has been asking for long-range missiles for a while now. Now that it has them, what happens next? Is the direction Ukraine's counteroffensive, is this the direction that the counteroffensive will be taking? Will it literally be an offensive? You know, more about moving forward and attacking Russia instead of trying to retake control over lost territory and defending the Ukrainian land. Because that seems to be the sentiment. At one point, Ben Wallace told the British Parliament, and I'm quoting here, "We will simply not stand by as Russia kills civilians. Russia must recognize that its actions alone have led to such systems being provided to Ukraine." Do you sense the eagerness for revenge here? Also, do you think more countries will follow suit? The UK is the first European country to give Ukraine long-range missiles. Ukraine says it is expecting more weapons. Zelensky is once again telling the world that it is still not ready for a counteroffensive. We need to wait. We still need a bit more time, is what the leader is saying. But time for what exactly? Weapons? But what kind of weapons really? Let's just have a look at how analysts think Ukraine can use the Storm Shadows. 1. It can hit Russian ammunition depots. The Russian troops moved the stockpile last year. After Ukraine received HIMARS, the weapons were put outside the 70-kilometer range. Now, with Storm Shadows, Ukraine can hit the stockpiles once again. Number 2. It can also target Russian ships in Crimean ports. Just to make one thing clear here, we are in no way suggesting that Ukraine is at an advantage here, because that is far from true. Sure, Kyiv has been able to secure long-range missiles, but Russia has missile with range of around 2,500 kilometers. I'm talking about the caliber missiles. What are those, and what does this basically mean? An escalation of the conflict, an attack inside Russia could have a whirlpool effect, possibly pulling in countries that are arming Ukraine. In the last 24 hours, Ukrainian tanks have been seen heading towards Bakhmut, with officials saying the troops have advanced by about 2 kilometers within the city. Ukraine has also released footage of what it claims to be an attack on Russian troops in Bakhmut. The question is this the start of something much bigger and more dangerous? Is this war escalating? And what really is Ukraine's game plan? WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.